to Death Row Records. Don't go away. The Doug Stewart Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, hear me and hear me good. If you like sports, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. If you like comedy, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. If you like a different opinion coming from a different angle, then you like the Wait a Minute Show.
So join me Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time
with your host, Jelani J.B. Bodie. And of course, my man Lopan.
On the Two Live Stews Radio Network.
Ain't that right, Lopan?
Tracks now. Deep
Yeah, well I'm here walking my path. Some people wanna see me fall. I'm reaching for the sky. I'm 50, 11 feet tall. People looking at me like they never seen a star before. So I packaged my exhibit and I took it out on tour. Sprinkle stardust on the world. People trying to grab a handful and stuff it in their pockets. Said they leaving with a sample. The moment we connected, time has slowed down to a standstill. Thoughts of all your other favorite artists getting canceled. Cause now it's me and you and me. Can you feel it? I bring your heart and then I bring the peace for the healing. They bugging cause this beauty is a beast. What the deal, kid? Reminiscing of a time when you could feel spitting real shit, but realness can no longer pay the bills. That you come in with them bars and you going for the kill. And you know I spit it hard, maybe cause I never really had a deal. Indie artist and I'm hungry for my feel like
I got what you want, got what you need. It's all I need, just let me be your dream pusher. Your dream pusher. I got what you want, got what you need. It's all I need, just let me be your dream pusher. Your dream pusher.
Yo, they say I'm different, a breath of fresh air. They say I'm heaven sent. Tell me I'm the cure, but yo, the money's in the medicine. Still I like to represent body in these stages, round the world and in your residence. Whenever you play this, you ain't even gotta say it, son, I'm dope. Little brown girl from Queens is not that great black hope. And I rock for generations who ride the tails of my coats. 100 years from now, they be reciting what
I rock rough and stuff with my Afro puffs.
Rock on with your man, say.
I rock rough and stuff with my Afro puffs.
Rock on with your man, say.
I rock on with my pants off cause it's a must. It's the lady of rage still.
Welcome back to the show. This is a Tribute Tuesday. The number is 404-822-5467. You can also email me at Doug@thedougshoreshow.com. Appreciate the call from Jeff and talking about what's going on down in Miami with the Dolphins and with the Hurricanes. But you've heard me talk about Miami a lot this year. I'm looking at their schedule, man. They really – Georgia Tech has probably been their toughest opponent, and they won that game by 1 point. And it was a last-second touchdown. It was a last-second touchdown where the ball bobbled off of the Georgia Tech player who could have intercepted it, I believe. I was actually watching this game and fell into the arms of the Miami receiver. And they went on and went to overtime, and, you know, they won in overtime. But tight game with North Carolina. They beat Syracuse at home, 27-19. I just talked about the Georgia Tech game. They blew out Duke. That's probably their best win. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still Duke. They beat Florida State, all right. In most years, that would be great, but not this year for Florida State. And then they had other little cupcake games like Bethune-Cookman, and they only beat Bethune-Cookman 41-13. You know, year in and year out, whenever they play Bethune-Cookman or FAMU or whoever black Florida school that they play, Edward Waters or what have you, they usually put 70, 80 points in them teams. And so they didn't this year. And then they also played Arkansas State, and then they beat up on Toledo. So we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll just rise up to the level of their opponent, and they just haven't had that great of an opponent yet. But we'll be able to tell a lot about Miami this weekend as they host Virginia Tech. Now I'll say this: the schedule kind of sets up perfect for them because they got Virginia Tech at home, they got Notre Dame at home, which is going to be big if they're both still undefeated. They got Virginia at home, and then they last game of the year they go to Pitt. So they got the two toughest games left on their schedule: Virginia Tech and Notre Dame down in South Florida. So that's perfect. All right, they could go undefeated. I think the strength of schedule is definitely going to hurt them in relative terms to everybody else's schedule. But, yeah, this thing sets up real nice for Mark Richt and the Miami Hurricanes. Virginia Tech at home, Notre Dame at home, Virginia at home. They got 3 home games in a row, which is perfect at the end of the season. And then they go on the road to Pitt. So we'll see, man. But they just really haven't impressed me. Y'all know me, man. I'm an old-school Miami fan, man. I love to see them do well. And I love them to get that swagger back. When I was talking to Jeff, I was talking about how much I like the turnover chain. If you don't know what that is, if you haven't seen it, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, whenever, it's just what it sounds like, whenever they get a turnover on defense, whoever gets the turnover, whether it's, I guess, picking up a fumble or getting an interception or whatever, they come to the sideline and they got this big-ass, fat-ass dookie chain. Right. That's what they used to call them back in the day if you're a greenhorn, a dookie chain. And so they got this big fat-ass dookie chain with the U, logo on it, as like the pendant on the bottom of this chain or whatever, hanging off this chain. And so those guys go crazy because they just want to rock the chain. I guess when they go back in the game, they take it off. But that's a real cool thing. That's kind of, swagger style, like old school Miami. And so that's the thing that I think has been missing there for a long time, man. Al Golden. Who was the coach before Al Golden? Was it Randy Shannon, who's now the interim head coach of Florida? I think it might have been Randy Shannon before it was Al Golden. I can't even remember, man. But the whole mystique and swagger of the Miami Hurricanes football program has just been going away. Now, you will never be able to get back what they had in the late 80s, in the early 90s, and even in the early 2000s when they had that great team that got jobbed in the national championship by Ohio State. Because it's just different now. It's more politically correct. You can't go out and just, act a fool like those Miami players used to do back in the day, man, and just, braggadocious, arrogant as hell, but they can back it up. All right? So I love the rebel. I love the rebel in sports, man. And so just like a lot of other people in this country, man, I love watching the old school Miami Hurricanes and their swagger. Like they probably, that word swagger probably came about when you're talking about the Miami Hurricanes from back in the day. And they just hadn't had that. And a lot of these coaches that have come along over the last couple of years, they tried purposely, to get rid of that image. I'm like, what the hell you trying to get rid of that image for? That's the best thing y'all got going for y'all. It's the swagger damn image. Yeah. Al Golden wearing that damn little stupid-ass tie on the sideline, trying his best impersonation of Joe Paterno or whatever. Man, sit your ass down somewhere. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. It was horrible. I hated that damn hire from the very beginning. From the very beginning. He was crappy. So I'm looking at these coaches right now. So you have, who the hell is Jeff Stoutland? It must have been an interim. So you had Larry Coker. Let's not start for Larry Coker because that was during the era where they had success. The success was Jimmy Johnson, Dennis Erickson, Butch Davis, Larry Coker. But then you had Randy Shannon, which was a former Miami player, and you thought he could bring it back, and he wasn't horrible, but it just wasn't the same. So Randy Shannon, then you had Jeff Stoutland for one game, I guess, when they fired Randy Shannon at some point during the season. The Stoutland guy was interim because he just coached for one game. Then you brought in Al Golden. So I was right. Pretty much Al Golden was right behind Randy Shannon, and he wasn't shit. And then they fired Al Golden, and Larry Scott got 5 games in between when they got Mark Richt. And so hopefully Mark Richt, former Miami player, can bring back the mystique of the Miami Hurricanes football. Let me jump in the chat room. From LD, all right, at NFL from the D, says, wow, that's the quietest 7-0 I've ever seen or heard. It is, talking about Miami. From Ben, BS3 Sports Squad, he says, Miami has to beat Virginia Tech, too. Just talked about that. From Wody 504, Bills could really use Landry. That would be a good fit. So Jeff said that right now, that Landry, the wide receiver for Miami, is on the trading block. It almost sounds like they're in rebuilding mode. Right, that they're just going to, forget the rest of the season and start building for the future. They already got rid of Jay Ajayi, and now they're talking about trading Landry or trying to find a deal for Landry. What the hell is that all about? From Andre Elam Hakeem, woo, some of my FSU is not terrible. We are playing terrible. Coaching changes. Man, Andre Elam, I tell you what, you're the most optimistic sports fan in the world, bro. I got to give it to you. You're very optimistic, man. You're an optimistic fan. His team, the San Francisco 49ers, are 0-8. He started talking about the glory days of, 1997. And Florida State, clearly their worst year under Jimbo Fisher, maybe their worst year of football probably in the last 30. Like, I can't even remember. Even in the down years of Florida State, they haven't been this bad and lost this many games thus far in the season. So I hear you, bro, but it's not looking good for the Florida State Seminoles or your San Francisco 49ers. I'm sorry, I just got to tell the truth. From Sen Garoppolo, he says, Manny Diaz ain't been shit since he left Mississippi State the first time. Talked about the defensive coordinator. From McQueen de Cuevo, damn, Oka, tell me how you really feel. Canes are still very lucky. Al Thompson, Andre, losing your number one quarterback shouldn't take you from top 5 to top 200. And talking about what's going on down there at Florida State. Keep it real. Keep it real. Rough Buff, breaking news. The black race just traded Ray Lewis to North Koreans for do-rag. We just traded away Ray Lewis to North Korea for a do-rag, a carton of Newports, and a bag of barbecue chips. We probably couldn't get that much for Ray Lewis right now, bro. We probably couldn't, man. From Brian Hill, I wouldn't trade Satan to the Patriots. I don't understand why teams deal with them. Take a knee against their ass. Right. I would never do a deal with the Patriots just on GP because I would always feel like that I'm getting snookered some type of way. Cheating bastards. I would. Like, clearly, they have more intel than we do because they seem to come across the other team's playbook year in and year out. They got cameras and recording devices at other teams' training camps and practices, So, we can't keep up with them. We do a deal with the Patriots, we're going to lose the deal. And usually that's what happens. I'll be damned. Oh, I'll give you number 3 on my list of top 5 candy bars of all time. It's coming up here in a second. All right, don't go away. The Doug Stewart Show. Entertainment coming up next.
Hey, what's up, sports fans? You're looking for a different type of sports talk show, something you haven't heard before? You gotta check out the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday on 2 Live Stews Radio, 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Sports talk at its finest. Always have great guests, playing some good hip-hop. You don't want to miss it. Make sure to tune in to the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern.